All right, let's talk about legumes and grains. And for the most part, most people think that these are healthy. Well, I did. I was a vegetarian for many years from the age of about 13 to 29, and I ate a lot of legumes and grains. But back in those days, which was the 70s and 80s, the practice of desiccating and pre-seeding with Roundup was not a big practice. So these days what happens is before legumes, and legumes are lentils and red kidney beans and chickpeas and soya and things like that, and especially non-genetically modified soya I'm talking about here. So before the land is seeded with these legumes or grains as well, it is clear-filled by Roundup. So what that does is that they spray the ground with Roundup and they get rid of all the weeds before they want it to seed. So this not only, number one, destroys the microbiology of the soil, which then doesn't allow vitamins, or not vitamins, but especially minerals, to get into the legumes and the grains, which means your legumes and grains are lacking in the minerals they should have. But what it also does is it stops an important pathway called the shikimate pathway. And the shikimate pathway is a process, a biochemical process that is produced by bacteria, by plants, and by fungi. And when glyphosate is sprayed on the soil, it stops this shikimate pathway, which produces tyrosine, tryptophan, and phenylalanine. These are three important amino acids that are required for your neurotransmitters: dopamine, noradrenaline, and serotonin. So when we don't have those amino acids, which we should have in our gut, because a lot of our neurotransmitters are produced in the gut, then we're in real trouble. And we're in trouble with not only the way we think, but anxiety and depression rates start to increase. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but that's what's happening at the moment. So as well as the pre-seeding, some farmers desiccate or dry the crop with Roundup. So a week or so before harvest, they will spray the canola, the soya, especially if it's non-GMO, both of them, the chickpeas, the lentils, the legumes, the wheat, the barley, the rye. They will spray it with Roundup, which, like I said, dries or kills the plant. So there's less foliage. The grains are harvested with that on the grain. That then goes to a silo, and so it really doesn't matter whether your farmer has been spraying with Roundup just before harvest or not. It goes into a silo and it all gets mixed and contaminated anyway. You then consume that, and you have bacteria in your gut that produces tyrosine, tryptophan, and phenylalanine using the shikimate pathway. And if it's not doing that, then you're not making it. And if you're not able to make it, then you're not able to make your neurotransmitters or your bugs or your microbiome. So this is what I find a problem with legumes and grains at the moment. So how do you find a healthy legume and grain? You buy organic, certified organic, because they're not allowed to use these practices. You can buy them dried. You need to soak them. It's really important to soak them. And then you need to cook them. You can also buy them tinned. I have found organic ones tinned. Read the ingredients, make sure that's the only thing in there. But if you buy them tinned, be aware that all tins have a plastic lining, and it could be just down the seam, it could be just the lids, it could be all the way around. And while BPA, which is really causing hormone disruption and a lot of other things that I'm not going to go through, while BPA is being used less and less, there is a new plastic that's being used. So you have to be very, very wary of that plastic that's being used, because I don't think the evidence is out that it's safe yet. But I must admit, I do have some organic chickpeas and red kidney beans in my pantry, just in case I'm making something like I want to make a chili con carne and I haven't soaked my red kidney beans. So I will use it in that. Or if I want to make a hummus in a hurry because I've got friends around, then I'll use that. Otherwise, if I don't want to be contaminated with plastic and Roundup and all the other chemicals that are sprayed, I have dried ones on hand. Soak them the night before or even the morning of, and then just make sure you cook them. It's really important to do preparation with your legumes as well as your grains. So I hope that helps you with finding the best legumes and grains that you can get, which is always organic And oh, by the way, with the crushing of grains, you know, like rolled oats or things like that, see if you can find stone ground. They are out there and it's good to get. All right, I hope that's helped you. I'll see you in the next video.